Welcome back, everybody. I'm Reed Cowan. Okay, so candidate Kamala Harris will be back in Pennsylvania for the second time this week. Pennsylvania, you're going to be hearing a lot about that state in these final weeks. CBS News correspondent Cristian Benavides following the Harris campaign. Cristian, you're watching Harris's outreach specifically to Latino voters. What is really the strategy here, and why is that voter base so crucial, especially this time around?
Reed, we're here in Doral, Florida. I'll give you a sense. I'll just sort of set the scene for you. Just about a mile from here, former President Donald Trump is holding a town hall with Latino voters. Why are they such an important voting bloc for both sides? Well, in the past few elections, we've seen that the Latino vote, the Latino electorate, has sort of been shifting away from the Democrats, and particularly here in South Florida, we've seen it skyrocket for the Republicans. And so, as sort of a rebuttal to this town hall that former President Donald Trump is holding about a mile away from here at Univision with Latino voters, the Harris campaign held a press conference here to sort of stress their points and their message to Latinos. So what is their message? Part of the message has to do with immigration. So they brought out families that were separated during the Trump administration, their border separation policy. And I spoke to a child, a young girl who crossed the border with her mother when she was 6 years old, and she had been separated from her for 3 years. Let's take a listen to what she told me, and then we'll talk about it on the other end.
I feel like it was hard for me, but I was brave enough to be without my mom. But at the same time, every day I prayed at night to get back with her and my dad after he got deported.
So part of the strategy by Democrats is, in a way, reminding Latino voters of this policy that had taken place back when the former president was in office, controversial policy. But aside from immigration, what Democrats have struggled to do when you talk to Latino voters is stress the message of how they're going to address the economy. And that's when you speak to Latino voters down here, particularly in South Florida, or Latino voters that have been shifting away from the Democrats, that's sort of one of their primary concerns. And as we've seen in polling, Trump still is doing better than Harris in some polls when it comes to the economy, and a majority of polls. And so Latinos down here, they look at that. They also look at messaging as far as Republicans and what they've been able to do in areas like South Florida, where you've got large Cuban immigrant populations, you've got large Venezuelan immigrant populations, and their messaging on items such as socialism has been quite effective when it comes to Latino voters. That's why we saw Miami-Dade County for the first time in generations vote for a Republican governor, Ron DeSantis. And most polling down here in Miami-Dade County shows that Latinos are choosing Trump over Harris, which is why the Harris campaign has been trying to get out this message to Latino voters, sort of reminding them in a way about the immigration policies that former President Trump had, but also trying to get the message across of what they would do when it comes to the economy, which is a key issue for this voting bloc.
I saw it firsthand, presidential race after presidential race, that very conversation on socialism happening. Cafe Versailles in Little Havana, as you know, it is a stopping ground for every presidential candidate and really shapes the narrative on that issue as well. But also 15 years ago, I remember traveling with Representative Ileana Ros-Lehtinen to Washington, D.C. with the young dreamers who are now older and very much in the workforce. So people very much know about this subject in Miami. Before we leave you, I have to ask you about this. Kamala Harris on the stage with 100 Republicans. What's that all about?
Well, look, she is holding an event in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. This is a key county which has gone for, went for Joe Biden and has gone for Democrats for a number of elections in the past few elections. But they only won former Vice President, now President Joe Biden, won that county by only 4%. So the Harris campaign at this point is on the defensive in a way, trying to get some of those crossover voters. Perhaps, she's going to be on stage with about 100 Republicans who are saying that they're going to vote for Harris. So at this point, what she is looking to do is get that crossover appeal to some Republicans or some moderate, some people who may be on the fence, some moderate Republicans, folks that may be on the fence about what is it that could potentially give them an appeal to Kamala Harris, what could potentially get them over to her side. That's what her focus is on right now. Obviously, as you know, the race in Pennsylvania, razor thin. So right now it's all about doing those events, getting out the message. She's going to need some moderate Republicans, some crossover voters in order to be able to win that key state.
CBS News correspondent Cristian Benavides there in Doral outside of Miami. Do me a favor, my friend. Go get cafecito y guava pastelito for me. I miss it so much down there in South Florida.